This video is going to show you how to print a solid color in silkscreen, and I'm going to start by mixing the ink. I have pigment here. When you use the pigments, you want to make sure that you wipe off the top of the bottle, because if there's dry crusty pigment built up around there, that will get in your ink and leave streaks in the print. So I'm going to put a few drops of the blue because I'm going for just a slightly violet blue, and just a drop or two of red. Then I'm going to mix those up with a palette knife. I have about a cup of Roman 880 wall covering adhesive, and remember the pigment is very concentrated, so we're just using it by the drop. I'm going to take a matte tab and a scrap of printmaking paper and just do a drawdown. That's extremely light, so I'm going to want to add some more pigment. When you scrape a matte tab on the paper, that gives you about the same thickness of a layer of ink as you will have on your, and a little more intense. Remember, this is the first color of the print, so it's going to be a lighter value color, from middle value lighter. Second color or second screen will be printed in a middle value to lighter value color, and only the key image, which is your collage, will be printed in a color that's darker than middle value. But none of these will be opaque, so previous colors will show through subsequent colors. Alright, that's about what I'm going for, just a very light, slightly violet blue. So I'm going to have my printmaking paper. This is the good Stonehenge paper. I'm also going to have a few sheets of newsprint. 4 sheets of newsprint for testing. And I'm not going to bother punching the holes in the newsprint, there's no need for that. But I do have my good paper torn into quarter sheets, 15 by 11, and I have them 3-hole punched so that when I print the edition, I have the holes that will align with the pins. Okay. I'm going to put a piece of newsprint under here to start. And you should have more space. Make sure that your good paper is far enough away from your screen, but it needs to also be handy. This is a time-sensitive process. The ink dries very fast, as some of you have already found out, and so being quick and having your materials close at hand is good. I also have a squeegee and a squeegee holder. And the squeegee goes in the squeegee holder with the blade side up. On the top of the screen, I got a little bit in the open area, but that's going to be okay. It's just a test print right now. But a lot of that ink is going to stay on the screen, and it's going to glue the paper stencil to the screen, as well as fill in some of the weave of the screen. I also have some ink in reserve because I will probably, printing 12 of these like you, I would have to reload the screen with ink at least once before I was done. This is going to be noisy because I'm going to turn on the vacuum, but the procedure is this. Put the paper underneath, put the screen down, turn on the vacuum, pull the print one time with the squeegee, lift up the screen, push the ink back, then turn the vacuum off. You want the vacuum on when you lift up the screen so that the paper stays on the table. Once the vacuum is off, you can take the paper and put it on the drying rack. And that's where it's good to have a friend help you, because they can take the paper off and put it on the drying rack while you reload and print the next one. That keeps the ink from drying up. Okay, so here goes. And there's my print. Put my squeegee there. You can see that it printed in a pale violet color, violet blue. That flood stroke, the one where I push the ink back, is very important. Drying up too quickly, and it is also filling the screen with the ink that will be pushed through for the next print. If this print looks good, which it does, then I can move on to good paper. If there's a void or an area that didn't print properly, check it, fix the problem, and then print another test on newsprint. Once the newsprint looks good, whether it takes 1 or 4 or 5 or 10, then switch to your good paper. And if you have a problem while you're printing, switch back to newsprint to solve the problem, and then go back to your good paper. So to print now, and there's a print on good paper. Okay, that was my last print. So the next thing I want to do is clean up. I'll start with the screen. I'm going to take all of this ink and scrape it up, and I can put it on my tray. Eventually it's going to go in the garbage. I will also peel the stencil off the back of the screen and remove the tape that's around the screen, and clean it with water. Because I want to preserve the rectangle that's in the screen, I'm not going to use the pressure on the power washer. I'm just going to use the regular water pressure without the pump to clean the remainder of the ink off. Once the screen is clean, clean your squeegee and your tray and your mixing tools, and then you can move on to the next step.